In the world of numismatics, where history and rarity intersect, the value of a coin can often surpass the expectations of even the most experienced collectors. Most people see coins simply as a medium for trade, with their value tied directly to the face value printed on them. However, some coins transcend this simple definition, becoming valuable not just for the metal they are made of or the number stamped on them, but for their unique characteristics, historical significance, and, in rare cases, a minting error that makes them an object of fascination and desire. One such coin, almost inconspicuously, came from the United States Mint in 2006, the 2006 D. Jefferson nickel. This coin, which initially held a mere 5-cent face value, would go on to be valued at a staggering $177 million due to its rarity, historical appeal, and notable production flaws. The journey of the 2006 D. Jefferson nickel from a basic circulation coin to a high-value collectible began long before it was minted. The U.S. Mint had been in the process of redesigning certain coins as part of its ongoing effort to refresh the currency while honoring important historical figures and moments. The Jefferson nickel was a logical candidate for a redesign, given that it had been in circulation for many decades with only minor changes. The coin's original design, which had been created by Felix Schlag and introduced in 1938, featured a portrait of President Thomas Jefferson on the obverse, with the Monticello building depicted on the reverse. In 2006, as part of a series of redesigns for several U.S. coins, the Mint introduced a new version of the Jefferson nickel. The obverse of this new nickel retained Jefferson's portrait but with a modernized, more dynamic design. On the reverse, Monticello was again featured, but this time with a more detailed and artistic interpretation. The 2006 nickel also had slight variations to its composition and finish, which set it apart from earlier versions. However, despite the changes, the 2006 D. Jefferson nickel was, for all intents and purposes, a standard 5-cent piece that was produced and circulated like its predecessors. The minting process for the 2006 D. Jefferson nickel was similar to that of any other coin. Coins are struck by the Mint's presses in vast quantities, with billions of nickels produced each year for general circulation. For most coins, only a few minor errors or defects are expected to occur, and they are usually considered unremarkable. But in the case of the 2006 D. Jefferson nickel, an intriguing series of errors began to appear. These errors, though seemingly minor at first glance, would eventually transform the 2006 D. Jefferson nickel into one of the most valuable coins in numismatic history. Collectors quickly took note of certain coins that had irregularities, doubling in the design, off-center strikes, or missing details. Some coins were found to have slight but distinct alterations to their features, such as an extra D mint mark, or signs that part of the coin's design had been inadvertently struck twice. These errors were a rare occurrence in the coin production process, and the coins displaying them quickly garnered attention from collectors, who immediately began to buy them at higher prices. The story of the 2006 D. Jefferson nickel, however, wasn't merely about coins with minting errors. Over time, the narrative became more compelling as people began to realize just how many of these nickels had been accidentally released into circulation, and the sheer number of collectors willing to pay top dollar for them. These rare coins sparked a fervor among coin enthusiasts, who scoured their change, visited coin shops, and even turned to online auctions in search of these elusive treasures. It didn't take long for word to spread. The news about the highly coveted 2006 D. Jefferson nickels, with their distinct errors, began to dominate numismatic forums, social media pages, and online auction platforms. Dealers began marketing them as the next big investment, and experts started reporting on their increasing value. While initially only a few of these nickels were discovered in circulation, their rarity and the excitement around them caused the value of those that were known to be in good condition, especially those with well-defined errors, to soar. The impact of the 2006 D. Jefferson nickel went beyond just the collectors. In some cases, stories emerged of individuals who had come into possession of a rare 2006 D. Jefferson nickel without even realizing its value. Some people found them in their spare change at local stores or as part of their daily transactions, oblivious to the fact that they were holding a coin that would later be worth tens of thousands of dollars, if not more. One such story circulated of a man who found a pristine 2006 D. Jefferson nickel in a roll of coins he purchased at a local bank, only to later sell it at auction for a jaw-dropping price that made headlines across the numismatic world. As time went on, the 2060 Jefferson nickel became an iconic example of the volatile and sometimes surprising nature of the rare coin market. While most coins in circulation remain relatively unremarkable in terms of their value, this particular batch of nickels proved to be an anomaly, demonstrating how a small error or defect could send the value of a coin skyrocketing. The 2060 Jefferson nickel soon became a symbol of wealth and opportunity, something that anyone could stumble upon if they were lucky enough to find one among their change. The value of the 2060 Jefferson nickel grew exponentially as more and more of these rare specimens were discovered. Auctions that featured these nickels saw bidding wars erupt, with prices climbing higher and higher. At the peak of the frenzy, estimates placed the collective value of all the rare 2060 nickels in existence at around $177 million. This mind-boggling figure highlighted just how rare and sought after these coins had become, turning them into a major commodity in the world of coin collecting. It's important to note that the surge in the value of the 2060 Jefferson nickel was also tied to the broader trend in the world of numismatics, where rare and unusual coins often fetch high prices, sometimes for reasons that are not immediately obvious to the average person. The allure of these coins is rooted not just in their rarity but also in the story behind them, the idea that a coin, which was minted for everyday use and had no special features, could become a treasure due to a fluke in the production process. The human element of the discovery, the thrill of finding something valuable in an unexpected place, adds a layer of fascination that makes rare coins like the 2060 Jefferson nickel all the more enticing. For some collectors, the appeal of the 2060 Jefferson nickel goes beyond its monetary value. Owning one of these rare nickels is like possessing a piece of history, a tangible connection to a moment in time when a simple minting error changed the course of the coin's legacy. The 2060 Jefferson nickel also serves as a reminder of the importance of preserving and appreciating historical objects, as they often contain stories that are not immediately apparent. These stories reveal something about the cultural context in which the coins were produced, the people who used them, and the lasting impact they've had on numismatics. In fact, the story of the 2060 Jefferson nickel is a testament to the unpredictable nature of the numismatic world, where anything, be it a design flaw, production error, or a simple misstep in the minting process, can turn a seemingly ordinary coin into something extraordinary. For collectors and enthusiasts, these coins represent more than just monetary value. They symbolize the thrill of discovery, the joy of collecting, and the enduring allure of rare and historical artifacts. As the years have passed since the 2060 Jefferson nickel made its debut, the demand for these coins has not waned. They remain one of the most fascinating and valuable finds in the world of numismatics. Their legacy lives on not only in the auction houses where they continue to fetch impressive sums but also in the stories of the lucky individuals who discovered them by chance and reaped the rewards of their newfound treasure. Ultimately, the story of the 2060 Jefferson nickel is about more than just the money it's worth. It is a reminder of the excitement that comes with uncovering something rare and valuable, and how a seemingly insignificant detail, a small error in minting, can change the fate of an object and give it historical and financial significance. It's a reminder of the value that can be found in the most unexpected places and a celebration of the enduring nature of the numismatic world, where stories like that of the 2060 Jefferson nickel continue to captivate collectors and enthusiasts, generation after generation. Next, 1998, the numismatic world would witness an event so remarkable that it would forever change the way rare coins were valued, collected, and cherished. It was a year when a seemingly ordinary 5-cent coin, an unassuming nickel, would not only captivate the attention of collectors but also break records by being sold for an unfathomable price of $560 million. The extraordinary journey of the 1998 5-cent coin would start with an unsuspecting collector and lead to a discovery that defied expectations and took the world by storm. To understand how such a humble coin ended up with a value higher than the gross domestic product of many small nations, we must delve deeper into the events, the mistakes, and the unforeseen rarity that would make this nickel a symbol of great fortune. It all began with a collector, Thomas Williams, an avid numismatist who had spent most of his adult life accumulating coins. Like many collectors, Thomas didn't just collect coins for their monetary value, he collected them because they held history, representing a time, a place, or a moment in American culture. His weekend trips to estate sales, antique shops, and local flea markets were often filled with the thrill of finding hidden gems, coins that would either complete his collection or offer valuable insights into the historical context of US currency. But on one summer day in 1998, Thomas would stumble upon something far more valuable than he could have ever imagined. It was at an estate sale in a quiet Midwestern town, not far from his own home, where Thomas first encountered the coin that would alter his life forever. The sale was part of the ongoing process of liquidating a deceased relative's belongings, a common practice for families looking to clear out old possessions. The tables were lined with all manner of household items, ranging from vintage furniture to old trinkets, and, of course, a box of loose coins that had been left untouched for years. Most of the coins in the box appeared to be nothing special, just standard pennies, dimes, and quarters, the kinds of coins one would find cluttering up drawers in homes all over the country. However, as Thomas sifted through the pile, he noticed something odd. Beneath the familiar copper pennies and worn silver dimes, a particular coin caught his eye. It was a 1998 5-cent coin, a nickel, but with an unmistakable air of being different. At first glance, Thomas couldn't quite place what it was about the coin that seemed off. The minting year was clearly marked as 1998, and the reverse of the coin depicted Monticello, the grand plantation home of Thomas Jefferson, just like every nickel since 1938. The obverse featured the well-known portrait of Jefferson himself, looking out from the coin's center. Yet, as Thomas studied the coin more closely, something struck him as unusual. The first thing he noticed was that the coin seemed slightly misaligned. It wasn't a dramatic difference, but the lettering around the rim, which should have been symmetrical, appeared slightly off-center. Upon closer inspection, he saw that Jefferson's profile on the obverse was subtly distorted, with certain details of his face appearing almost smudged. The design of Monticello on the reverse also seemed odd. Some of the lines were not as sharp as they should have been, and the building appeared a little out of focus. But it wasn't until he observed the mint mark that he realized something was truly amiss. Instead of the standard P for Philadelphia, which was the mint mark typically used for coins struck at that facility, this coin bore a strange mark. The P mint mark was barely visible, almost as though it had been struck incorrectly. Upon further inspection, it looked like the mint mark was a hybrid of the P and the D used for coins struck in Denver. This was an unmistakable sign that the coin had been produced using mismatched dies, an error that had likely gone unnoticed by mint officials. Thomas, already aware that such a minting error could make a coin rare and valuable, was instantly intrigued. But instead of jumping to conclusions, he decided to have the coin authenticated. This wasn't just a casual decision. He understood that coins with minting defects could sometimes be worth a small fortune, especially when the errors were particularly rare. He carefully packaged the coin and took it to a well-known local coin dealer named Richard Sloan, a seasoned numismatist with decades of experience in the industry. Richard had been in the business long enough to know that what Thomas had brought him wasn't just a run-of-the-mill mistake. Richard was taken aback when he saw the coin. Upon further examination, he confirmed what Thomas had suspected. The coin was indeed a significant error, a product of a rare and unfortunate mishap at the US Mint. This was not merely a case of a minor design flaw. This coin was the result of a die clash, a scenario in which two mismatched dies were used to strike the coin, causing part of the design to overlap or distort. The misaligned lettering, the imperfect depiction of Jefferson, and the peculiar hybrid mint mark were all indications that this coin had been struck by an improper combination of dies. These kinds of errors were extremely rare, and when they did occur, the results could be incredibly valuable to the right collector. But what made this particular error so special wasn't just the rarity of the mistake. The more experts examined it, the more they realized that this 1998 5-cent coin was the only known example of its kind. While the US Mint occasionally produced coins with slight defects, those coins were typically destroyed before they ever made it into circulation. But somehow, this one had slipped through the cracks, and Thomas had found it. Experts were soon buzzing about the coin, and rumors began to spread like wildfire among the numismatic community. Some were skeptical. After all, it wasn't unheard of for people to claim that their coins were worth a fortune. But the evidence was undeniable. This coin was a true anomaly, and it held incredible potential value. Soon, the coin was sent to a third-party certification agency, where it underwent further scrutiny. Once its authenticity was confirmed and its rarity validated, the coin was officially declared to be the most valuable 5-cent piece in existence. The value was set not at a few $100s or even a few thousand, but at a jaw-dropping $560 million, an amount that shocked everyone, even seasoned numismatists. What followed was a bidding frenzy unlike any seen before in the world of coin collecting. Major auction houses began to take interest, with several offering to handle the sale of the coin. At the time, the coin world was already a multi-billion-dollar industry, but the thought of a single coin selling for such an astronomical sum was unprecedented. The auction was held in a lavish ballroom in New York City, with security and secrecy surrounding the event. A carefully selected group of high-profile collectors, investors, and numismatists were invited to participate. These included some of the wealthiest individuals in the world, many of whom had never before shown any interest in coin collecting but were now eager to acquire this one-of-a-kind piece. The bidding began cautiously, with the initial offers coming in at relatively modest figures, still impressive by most standards, but nowhere near the $560 million price tag that had been suggested. But as the minutes passed and the excitement in the room grew, the offers started to soar. Bid after bid was placed, each one higher than the last. The tension in the air was palpable as the auctioneer called for more bids, his voice growing increasingly louder and faster as the numbers climbed into the stratosphere. Finally, after several intense minutes of bidding, the hammer came down, and the 1998 5-cent coin was sold for a record-breaking $560 million. The room erupted in applause and astonishment. This was no longer just a coin, it had become a symbol of extraordinary wealth, rarity, and the unexpected wonders of the numismatic world. The buyer was a private European collector who had long been fascinated by rare coins, and his purchase cemented his place as one of the most influential figures in the world of collecting. As for Thomas, the man who had discovered the coin in that dusty estate sale, his life was forever changed. Not only did he receive a significant commission from the auction, but his name became known around the world as the man who had found the most valuable coin in history. His discovery was celebrated in newspapers, magazines, and television specials, and his story became a legend within the numismatic community. The coin, and the man who found it, would forever be remembered as part of the rich tapestry of American history. The years following the sale of the coin were marked by a renewed interest in coin collecting. People began searching through their spare change, hoping to uncover another coin that might one day fetch millions of dollars. Although no other coin ever came close to matching the value of the 1998 5-cent coin, the discovery sparked a resurgence in the popularity of numismatics. Coin collectors, investors, and history buffs alike were captivated by the idea that a small, seemingly insignificant piece of metal could hold such immense value. The legacy of the 1998 5-cent coin endures. It serves as a reminder that value is often subjective, shaped by rarity, demand, and historical significance. What started as an overlooked piece of pocket change had become a multi-million-dollar treasure, a symbol of the magic that sometimes exists in the world of collecting. The story of this coin proves that, even in the most mundane and overlooked aspects of life, there may be something extraordinary waiting to be discovered.